Не могу молчать. Ведущий австралийского телеканала в прямом эфире выступил против западной повестки и сказал все, что думает о Зеленском и американской пропаганде. Я в разногласиях с коллегами, но больше молчать не могу. Зеленский не такой, как его представляют. Запад умалчивает ужасные вещи, которые происходят в Украине с этническими русскими. Зеленский обещал прекратить гражданскую войну, но вместо этого поддержал правый сектор, лидер которого публично заявил, что скармливал кости русских детей своему домашнему волку. Если это была шутка, русские ее не поняли. Началом войны послужила деятельность неонацистов, которым Запад раздал оружие. Глупый вице-президент США Камала Харрис поддержала заявку Зеленского в НАТО, когда русские уже концентрировались у украинских границ. И это тоже провокация России. Это миф о Зеленском, что он в своей зеленой маечке всегда на линии фронта. Миф развенчан. Это постановочные трюки, как в «Волк», где он тоже в ней снялся. Это футболка неуважения, которую он выставляет на показ в каждом парламенте по всему миру, выпрашивая все больше денег на оружие для самой коррумпированной страны в Европе. Это все блеф, пропаганда, исходящая из офиса Зеленского.
Now, I know I'm at odds with most of my colleagues on this station and our network guests on this next item, but I really feel I can't bite my tongue any longer. You see, I think the president of the Ukraine is not all that he's portrayed as by the Western media. I mean, if you believe the spin, he's the second coming of Winston Churchill and he'll be remembered as the great hero saving his people from the evil Russians. I'm the first to admit that Putin isn't a good guy either, but what the West glosses over is the terrible things that have happened to the primarily ethnic Russian people in parts of the Ukraine under Zelensky's rule. These people comprise the largest Russian community outside of Russia. They make up about 17% of the Ukrainian population. And they live in primarily Russian regions and have effectively been in a civil war with the Ukrainian government since 2015. This was just after they were promised a vote on independence in 2014. That vote has never taken place. Zelensky promised to end the civil war. He clearly hasn't done so. Instead, he's facilitated the goading of the Russians by endorsing the right sector, whose leader publicly claimed he fed the bones of Russian children to his pet wolf. Now, apparently that was a joke, but it must have been lost on the Russians, and particularly those who felt they'd been mistreated by Ukrainian troops. Here's how Time magazine described one of them, the neo-Nazi Azov movement, just last year. Commentator Glenn Greenwald sums it up nicely with this tweet. No rational person thinks Ukrainian neo-Nazi militias justify this war, but it's dangerous madness to scoff at the impact of arming them, as the West is doing. In the words of President Zelensky, they are what they are.
Have you clear something up for us? And this is these reports about the Azov battalion that is said to be Nazi-affiliated organization operating as a militia in your country, said to be committing their own atrocities. What should Americans know about that unit, about those reports?
So Azov was one of those many battalions. They are what they are.
I also want to point out that Zelensky sought to join NATO against another Ukrainian agreement that was set to maintain neutrality between Russia and Europe. And even as Russian troops were amassing along the border, the foolish US Vice President Kamala Harris publicly supported Zelensky's bid to join NATO.
So I will say what I know we all say, and I will say over and over again. The United States stands firmly with the Ukrainian people in defense of the NATO alliance.
You don't think that was about provoking Russia? Well, I do. In any event, like most marketers, Zelensky knows that image is everything. That's why he's always pictured wearing his army green t-shirt. You see, it portrays him as a man of action and part of the front line. Well, that myth was debunked early in the campaign when his staged pick-ops in battle regalia were exposed as totally contrived. Since then, it's been the T-shirt of disrespect, which he's paraded in every single parliament around the world just about, begging for more money and arms, as one of the most corrupt countries in Europe. And he even wore it on his Vogue magazine photo shoot this week. It was as contrived as everything else as far as I'm concerned, and it was just like what we've seen being presented in this war. The propaganda coming out of the presidential office.
Друзья, ставьте лайки, подписывайтесь на канал, репостите наши видео в социальных сетях. Спасибо всем за внимание и пока.